us for another Nagoya Players interview. Today, I'm joined by a very special guest. She's new to Nagoya and she's new to Nagoya Players, Anna Valdes-Lim.
Hi everyone. Good
Um,
evening. Thanks for
um,
having me.
yes, thank you for joining us, Anna. Anna comes to us from the Philippines, and she arrived in Nagoya, I believe, last September. Anna has a very fascinating background as a performer and actor. She's a graduate of Juilliard, and she's recently spent the past few years developing a theater program and community in the Philippines, and she works with some very special people. So I'll toss it over to Anna to tell us a bit more about herself and the work she's doing. So, Anna, please tell us about your background.
I'm a graduate of Juilliard Drama Division. I went there many years ago, and I think I'm the first Asian that got into the program. And from Juilliard, I worked as an actress in the United States in different theater companies. And I also got the second degree from the University of Hawaii, an education degree. And after that, I moved back to the Philippines and began acting and teaching mostly in Manila. And during the COVID time period, I went online and started teaching online.
Okay, so let's talk about your time as a drama student. Uh,
Mm.
how was theater when you were studying acting and drama compared to theater now? Like you've had a lot of experience, you've been in a number of shows. How do you see theater evolving and changing over the years?
Well, let's talk first about Juilliard. Juilliard is a conservatory and it's very competitive. To get in, you have to pass several requirements. And actually, as a teacher, Sean, I do help people or actors audition for schools like Juilliard, Yale, Royal Academy, etc., because it does require some skill in the audition. It's
Mm.
quite competitive. So at Juilliard, it was wonderful because we had all acting classes from acting to diction to voice. It's classical. They give you modern works, but it's basically classical. So you learn a lot of Shakespeare, Chekhov, the Greeks. As an actress, when I graduated, it was a bit difficult because at that time, there were not very many Asians. This was before Miss Saigon was on Broadway. No, not 10 years, but several years before Miss Saigon. So there weren't very many roles. And I, I worked hard to get a role, even if it was not cast for an Asian.
Mm.
Nowadays, we have so much diversity, inclusion, that it seems easier. I'm not sure that it's necessarily easier because they're very specific about when you play a role, how close are you? If the role is for a Filipino, I think they will only see Filipinos. So if the role is, depends now, they're very strict about those things. Um, During my time, which was 40 years ago,
Mm.
you needed to go up to the plate and swing your bat, meaning you had a chance at it. You just had to be good. They didn't have those layers of specificity.
I
So there's good and bad about it today.
So that's quite interesting. In some ways, it's changed for the better. In some ways, it's changed in a more. It makes things even more challenging.
Yes,
Yes.
yes, absolutely.
Well,
Yes.
it's interesting because that kind of touches upon the character you're working on now, and that character is Grandma in Edward Albee's The American Dream.
Mhm.
And Albee wrote this play during the 1960s United States, and I he probably envisioned a cast of all white characters.
Yeah.
When we were casting for this show, Nagoya Players, we didn't have race requirements for characters, and we just wanted to have the best actors in the best roles. and you blew us away with your audition for Grandma. So you got the part.
Thank you.
How do you feel about being Grandma in a play, a character that probably wasn't written for a Filipino actress? Like, how do you feel
Right.
about playing that role?
Oh, I feel blessed. You know, all the roles, I read the scripts and all the roles, it was grandma that attracted me.
Mhm.
And I would read her and feel actually so much in my heart for that role. I didn't know if I could play the role, but I was excited to play her. And I guess that connected with you because that was the role that you offered me. There were other roles, but that was the one. So, I think if the writer is good, the humanity connects with the person.
Mhm.
And it's all about humanity and connection. So, something about the gift of Edward Albee, who's an excellent writer, who connects with our humanity, and then it comes forward, whatever your race, whatever your background. That's why I love working with good writers
Mhm.
and good directors. And I think it's really important to choose good plays because good plays are already good in their form. The
Mhm.
words are there, the form is there. So it's up to you to deliver. And it connects, it transcends race, age, it includes all the diversity, and it transforms the audience. I,
Um,
I really hope for that transformation.
yeah, I think what you said was very beautifully put. The humanity in the script, the humanity in the writing. When I look at scripts, I feel the same thing. Like, is the script talking to us on a human level? And that's one of the things I enjoy about Albee. Albee is really trying to communicate with us and show us. He's trying to show us things that we may not be aware of within ourselves. And
Right.
the character of Grandma, I think Albie is speaking through Grandma a lot of the time in the show, and a lot of what she has to say is a little bit, a little bit, maybe a little bit rude, but
Hmm.
true. So,
Right. Yeah.
The American Dream is it's a pretty famous show. It was it was first staged in the 1960s, and we're doing it again in Japan in 2023. So some time has passed, things have changed, but how do you feel about the show now? Do you think it's still applicable to a modern audience?
I think it's relevant because of the way we treat our parents and the way we have relationships. Let's start with parents and the way we treat our elders and how we decide to care for our elders is the topic that Albie brings to the forefront. He's caustic, he's humorous, but it's hard humor and um, if you, I feel as an audience when I watch Albie plays, I have to stand back and really take it from a distance because it's not, it's, when you eat gourmet cheese,
Mm.
the first time it's kind of um, shocking to your system.
Yes.
And then you learn to like it. And processed cheese no longer is good.
That's
So if
an analogy.
Yeah, if you're used to processed cheese, the first time you have good cheese, you
Mm.
stand back and then you recognize the difference. I think that's the process with Edward Albee. And you have to stay and watch and digest it and
Mm.
then understand what he's trying to say. And I think anything worth learning takes you through that discomfort.
Yeah, I think that was a really nice way to describe Albie, right? The first taste may shock you a bit, but taste it again and it'll get better, and just gets better after every tasting. And
Right.
you can't go back to the old stuff once you've experienced it.
Right. And if you see more of Albee's shows, I
Mm.
mean, I when I watch his shows, I'm just amazed at this writer, and I think, what have I been watching? What plays have this is a play, you know?
Yeah.
So it's really
Oh,
good stuff.
that it's one of the reasons I really, really wanted to bring Albee to Japan.
Mm,
Albee is known here, but not as much as others. He's a big part of American theater, and I just think he's responsible for a lot of the directions theater has taken over the years. He was a driving force, and I want Japanese audiences and expatriate audiences here to get a taste of it and experience it. And that's why I was really pushing for this show to happen.
yeah.
But let's circle back to you. And you also have a background as a theater director, and you've created your own theater groups back in the Philippines.
Hmm.
And you told me some interesting stories about the work you've been doing there. So
Right.
I think it would be nice if the audience could hear some of the work you do in Manila.
So there are two new projects that I started. Well, no, the one new project during the time of the COVID pandemic because we were on lockdown. So I started online, and I call it Theater Space because it's theater on cyberspace. And I have acting students. So I invited those who I thought could could work online and wanted to. And we started to create plays online using Zoom as our frame, using virtual backgrounds. And we started doing a play every 8 weeks. So we would rehearse. We still do. We're working on Electra now, Sophocles Electra, a
Yes,
new version by,
I haven't heard.
yeah. So yeah, so actually for actors, Zoom is very good because it gives you the mirror right away and you can see the close up, and the actor learns to work with the frame. Um, and I just didn't feel that it was healthy not to act
Mm.
during during COVID because the isolation and not acting, for me, acting is like breathing, it's my meditation. So I felt I needed to provide that to actors, and we're all volunteers. I said, I'm not going to pay you, you're not going to pay me. Our participation is our currency, and we're going to help each other by doing the backgrounds, looking for the music. And so we've evolved now. I think we've done 10 plays already
Wow.
online, and
Okay.
it's not easy, and we make mistakes, but we're working, and we're
Well,
working through COVID.
yeah, I think it's fascinating this new tool. I mean, COVID, the pandemic kind of exposed us to how we can use technology in more ways. And
Right.
online theater was one thing that was kind of started in this time. Um, I dabbled in it. I couldn't really find my footing with it, but for people like you, have looks like you've discovered the how to make it work. So I think it's great.
Force, it's called Force to Good, Sean. Because I had to start teaching. I never taught acting online.
Mm.
And during COVID, I had to learn. And so then I said, it's natural to do scenes. Let's do scenes. Now let's do plays. Sean, the other project I'd like to
Mhm.
share is the theater in the prison.
Yes,
I
I do want people to know about this project, so please tell us.
Yes, but this is several years ago. I think we're on our ninth or 10th year, and it's in the Correctional Institute of Women, a Women's Maximum prison. And we teach theater there. We bring scenes like, we choose the scenes like King Lear or Romeo and Juliet. And I bring the video first, or I bring actors. We perform it for them, tell them the story, and then they translate it and bring it to their own dialect and start performing the plays. I
Mm.
also worked with them in creating their own stories. So we call that our story. So we now have a repertoire in prison,
Oh, really?
and it's something that I love and share. And whenever I have actors, celebrities, or amateurs, I just invite them. I say, come along and you'll see wonderful acting because the our sisters, I call them our sisters, who are incarcerated and don't have liberty, have so much to give us. They're not afraid. It's a good lesson for us.
So, in the United States, we also have similar programs, theater and drama, introducing them to prisons and teaching them the craft of acting. Of course, there'll be people that say, "Well, why spend your time doing that? Why do criminals and people in prison? Why should they be exposed to the arts this way?" Um,
Mm.
what would you say? How would you answer that criticism?
I have no answer for that. I was invited to go to prison. First, I started with male medium security, and I worked there about 3 years. I have no answer because I had the same feelings. I didn't want to go to the prison the first time I went. And I was just invited, and I watched them sing and I watched them do a couple of scenes. And I said, I will stay and I'll help you because I knew with my skills I could help them. And I saw them get better. I saw that they could put their energy into the role and release their anger and release they could for a while focus on the drama and then step back from it. And that stepping back is so important because then they learn that they can step back from their life. I have no answer and I don't need an answer on why am I helping them. I'm helping people outside the prison too. I
Mm.
don't make the distinction, but very few people go into the prison to help. And I don't even see it as helping. Very few people go into the prison to have an experience, to connect with people, to teach. I just happened to have an invitation and I just answered it. And so we're there about 10 years now, and I have no regrets. I think it's a wonderful learning experience for actors and for just regular people.
Yeah, I mean, I think your answer was really intriguing. Because I do also believe in like the healing powers of art and performing arts as well. Um, you mentioned that giving them an opportunity to lose themselves in a script, vent out their frustrations and their anger, and then come back to reality, and then try to live out their sentence. But having access or an opportunity to release, I think is very it's very beneficial.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, your points about wanting to go into a prison and working in that kind of environment, it's not a very attractive proposition. But thank God for people like you who are willing to take on the challenge and bring some good into these lives. So,
And you don't get famous, because you can't publicize any pictures. There's
mm,
nothing you can do as far as social media advertising. But I don't know. One day come with me. Really come with me.
next time
Because
I'm in Manila, we're
yeah,
gonna stop
you
by.
you will feel it and it's indescribable.
Okay. No, I'm very curious about it.
Mm.
I think art can do a lot for people, and I would really like to see this project you've been working on. I want to experience it.
And if you give them the tragedies, you give them the huge epic plays like when Lear finally wakes up and sees his daughter and doesn't recognize her and then finally says, you're Cordelia.
Mm.
You give them that, they have so much experience that they can play that moment truthfully.
Yeah.
It's
So
just so wonderful.
yeah, it's very interesting because some of these characters, you know, they do pretty bad things within those stories that they're,
Yes.
and then you have these bad characters in real life playing them. So they can bring a lot to the role.
In Much Ado, I have to say this story in Much Ado About Nothing, after they kiss and they get married, and she says, "Kill Claudio." And I thought, oh
Uh-oh.
my,
All right. Don't channel anything, just
I know. But it
all
was
right.
it was just so well played.
Yeah, I mean, I'm fascinated by the project and the concept, and I think, yeah, it sounds like something that really helps people.
Yeah.
So before we finish, let's just tell people about the next show, Edward Albee.
Yes.
We're doing three shows in April, and the dates are April
15
15th,
and 16.
16th, and it's going to be at Sasashima Studio, just behind Nagoya Station. The three shows we've selected are The Sandbox, The American Dream, and Counting the Ways. Anna will be performing in just one of those shows, the American Dream.
American Dream.
So I really recommend coming to see this showcase because Anna is fantastic. If you want to see some really great acting, you don't want to miss what Anna's got, what she's been working on. Um,
Thank you, Shawn.
Anna,
Please come.
yes, Anna, is there anything you'd like to say to the audience before the show?
Yes. Edward Albee is a Pulitzer Prize winning author, and he's worth watching, experiencing, and I'm very happy that we're doing an Edward Albee plays, and I think that you will benefit from experiencing this playwright. So please come. The actors put so much heart and work into it, and we can't complete the circle without you because
Mm,
you're a must. The audience is a must to complete the circle for theater. So please come. We'd love to see you there.
all right, thank you, Anna. All right, thank you everyone for watching the interview. Of course, for information about Nagoya Players and the shows, to get tickets, and for theater information, it's all on the website, nagoyaplayers.org. Thank you, everyone, and join us again for another interview. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.